Hey everyone, welcome back. In episode 9 of Wistoria Wand and Sword, the all student praxis kicks off with intense dungeon action and team drama. Wignall struggles while others shine with powerful spells, and tensions rise as team dynamics are tested. Plus, we get a glimpse of impressive elven magic. Dive in to see how it all unfolds. We've set up base camps on each floor. Make sure to locate them on the maps you were issued. If you finish the praxis or choose to withdraw, make sure to get to safety. The teachers will be standing by. The chapter begins with instructions for the all-student praxis. Students have base camps set up on each floor of the dungeon. They need to use their maps to find these camps and head to safety if they finish or need to withdraw, with teachers available for support. And now, I will do what I do here and make it totally no matter what. Let the all-student praxis begin. Wignall, you're up. A student expresses their determination to excel in the praxis no matter what. The event officially starts, and Wignall is called to begin, signaling the commencement of the challenging exercise. Huh? Wignall's surprised reaction shows he wasn't expecting to be called up so soon or wasn't ready for the start. Well, shall we? Another student indicates that it's time to get moving and start the praxis, setting the tone for action. Crumple. This might indicate the sound of something being crumpled or a moment of tension as the group prepares to engage in the praxis. Crimson Ant Swarm? We just got here? The team encounters a swarm of crimson ants, expressing frustration at facing such a challenge so soon after arriving in the dungeon. Mages don't do well in close combat. I'll have to go out in front and be their shield. Recognizing that mages are vulnerable in close combat, one member decides to step forward and protect the others, taking on the role of a shield. What? A surprised reaction to the decision or the situation, indicating disbelief or shock. No need. A dismissal of the concern, suggesting that there's no need for the additional protection or intervention. Don't you know about House Owenzaus? Refers to House Owenzaus, known for its lineage of knights, implying that they have their own way of handling the situation or are well equipped. They're a line of knights. Reiterates that House Owenzaus consists of knights who are likely skilled in combat and capable of dealing with a threat. Roar, O thunder spirits, as I face my foe, Lisaldi Dua. A mage casts a spell named Lisaldi Dua, which invokes thunder spirits to assist in the battle, showcasing their combat magic. An agility enchantment, an observation that the spell being used is an agility enchantment, increasing speed and dexterity. Lihana is a specialist in close quarters battle magic. That's a rare skill among mages. Mentions that Lihana excels in close quarters battle magic, a rare and valuable skill among mages, enhancing their combat effectiveness. Let's keep going so we can stay ahead of them. A suggestion to continue advancing to maintain their lead over other parties in the dungeon. I'd rather avoid fighting over credits with the other parties. Prefers not to engage in conflicts with other groups over credits, indicating a desire to avoid unnecessary competition. Ugh, that bastard. Get the goods, he says. There'll be no one around, he says. Expresses frustration with someone who underestimated the situation, implying they misjudged the difficulty or number of competitors. Never said anything about running into a bunch of brats out on a school festival. Complains about unexpectedly encountering troublesome opponents while they were expecting an easier time. Ugh. Fine. Guess we'll just have to kill 'em all. Frustratedly resigns to the idea of eliminating the competitors to resolve the situation. Do you know what's the most important spell in the dungeon, Will? Asks Will about the most crucial spell to know in the dungeon, setting up for a key lesson. Is it an attack spell? Inquires if the important spell is related to offense. Neither. Indicates that the spell in question is neither an attack spell nor a defense spell. Or a defense spell. Further questions whether the spell is related to defense. It's the root of all fundamentals. Any mage who hopes to make it out alive from a den of monsters like the dungeon would do well to know Search. Reveals that the most important spell is Search, fundamental for survival in the dungeon, as it detects enemies and anomalies. The most important spell is Search. Affirms that Search is the crucial spell, necessary for navigating the dungeon safely. It's a common spell used to detect enemies and anomalies. Out of my way, flunky! Explains that Search is used to detect threats and anomalies and commands Will to move aside, indicating a sense of urgency. They're taking on a whole mob. I can't spot our enemies fast enough. No, it's not that the other's search spell just has a wider range than my own senses. They're taking out those monsters before I can engage. Will, behind you. Will struggles to spot enemies quickly. He realizes that his teammates' search spells are more effective than his own senses, causing them to defeat monsters before he can act. Another member warns Will about a monster attacking from behind. Zephyros Claw. He got them all with one spell. Zephyros defeats a group of monsters with a single spell, showcasing his impressive magical abilities. You're more dead weight than I expected. You're not even a decent shield. Another member harshly criticizes Will, calling him dead weight and saying he's not even a useful shield, which hurts Will's confidence. Now I'm starting to doubt your judgment, Lehana. Someone questions Lehana's decision to include Will in the party, expressing doubt about Will's effectiveness. He simply hasn't had time to be a shield yet. Another person defends Will, suggesting he hasn't had enough time to develop the skills needed to be a proper shield. Well, see what he's capable of once we find an over 5 enemy. There's hope that Will prove his worth when they encounter more powerful enemies, indicating they're not giving up on him just yet. He simply hasn't had time to be a shield yet. Probably. The defense is repeated, adding probably to soften the statement, acknowledging uncertainty about Will's potential. So it's all right if he's dead weight for now. Probably. I'm sure he's very strong. Probably. The statement accepts that Will might be unhelpful at the moment, but believes he has potential, though there's still some doubt. When a monster is defeated, it leaves magical traces that a mage can absorb into his wand. This way, the wand stores a record of the battle, which allows the school to keep track of which monsters students have defeated, as well as how many credits they've earned. It's explained that defeated monsters leave magical traces that mages can absorb into their wands. This process helps the school track monster kills and credits earned by students. See? I told you bringing a guy who can't even use search would only slow us down. One person criticizes the decision to include Will, claiming that his lack of search ability is a hindrance to the team. Will can't collect traces. If he doesn't bring back monster parts, he won't get any credits. It's noted that Will's inability to collect magical traces from defeated monsters means he won't earn any credits, adding to his feelings of inadequacy. He did take one of them down. A teammate points out that Will did manage to defeat at least one monster, giving him a small but important win. Wait a minute, we're still picking up item drops. Another person realizes they're still picking up items from defeated monsters, suggesting that these might have some value. Those will hardly be worth anything. What's the point in carrying them back with us? One person dismisses the item drops as having little value and questions the point of carrying them, which means a no talent like me is bound to get on people's nerves, seeing as I have to pick up every single monster's remains and all. Will reflects on his situation, feeling like a burden because he has to handle collecting monster remains, highlighting his insecurities. You're in a party now, flunky. You could at least try to be less pathetic. A harsh comment telling Will he should try harder and not be so ineffective. Are you okay, Will? Another member expresses concern for Will, showing that despite the criticism, there is some care for his well-being. I'll just have to find other ways to help our party. Will resolves to find alternative ways to contribute and be useful to the team, despite his current struggles. I knew before we started that it was going to be like this. Will acknowledges that he anticipated difficulties and challenges from the beginning, showing his acceptance of the tough situation. FWAP. The sound effect suggests an action or movement, perhaps related to setting up or adjusting their current situation. That's the idea anyway, but all I can do is stand here. Knew it would be hard, but they're all so good, there's no chance for me to step up. At this rate, I'll spend the entire praxis just carrying our bags. I'd say it's time we take a rest. It's been a whole day since the praxis started. Will feels overwhelmed and inadequate, thinking he'll just be relegated to carrying bags and not making any significant contributions. He suggests taking a break, noting that they've been at it for a full day. Current floor, 8th. The team is on the 8th floor of the dungeon, indicating their progress and the challenging environment they're navigating. Right in the middle of the dungeon. I'm not expecting a high-class inn, but I would like a little sense of security. One member expresses a desire for some comfort or security, acknowledging that they're in a rough spot in the middle of the dungeon. Then let me build us a fortress of flames. Another proposes creating a magical fortress of flames for protection, showcasing their ability to provide a defensive barrier. Nardria, the name of the person using the magic. Boom! The sound effect represents the creation of the magical barrier, adding a dramatic visual element to the scene. Wow, is this elven illusion magic? Another member is impressed by the elven magic, recognizing it that creates an illusion that creates the appearance of a protective flame barrier. Yeah, I think so. The flames aren't really there. Still, it looks like seeing a flame barrier pop out of nowhere put the monsters off. They're keeping their distance. It's explained that while the flames are an illusion, they effectively deter monsters, keeping them at a distance and providing the team with some safety. Right. Surfort, pass out the rations I gave you. Here's yours, Wignall. One member instructs another to distribute rations to the team, showing they're taking a moment to rest and eat. That's close enough. Just put it on the ground. An elf is particular about how they handle the rations, avoiding physical contact with others. Huh? Elves only make physical contact with people they deem worthy. I don't want to touch you by accident. You're mages. I'm an elf. Please, just drop it. The elf explains their cultural preference to avoid touching others unless they consider them worthy, highlighting their cultural norms. Why, hey, I know elves are squeamish about what they touch, but we're all in the same party. Another member reacts to the elf's behavior, expressing frustration at the elf's refusal to engage with the team on equal terms. That's no way to talk to him. A response defending the elf, arguing against the harshness of the previous comment and urging for understanding. The only member of this party that I've deemed worthy is Lihana. Let's not fight, Colette. The elf explains that only Lihana is considered worthy of physical contact and requests that any arguments be set aside. Elves. This indicates a moment of contemplation or frustration about the elven customs. It's fine. Elves have their own culture and customs, but Will acknowledges that elves have unique cultural practices and reassures Will despite the awkwardness caused by the elf's behavior. It doesn't bother me. They can be pretty insufferable about how superior they are, but elves are better than mages at a lot of things. Elves and dwarves both came here from another world, but elves are a magical race. That means they're treated with reverence. Even one of the Magia Vander is none other than the elven princess. Finally, it's acknowledged that elves have a reputation for being superior and are treated with respect because of their magical heritage. There's even a notable elf, the Magia Vander, who is an elven princess, adding depth to their revered status.